So it's no surprise that we live in a capitalist society, and therefore everyone and everything has a value placed on them automatically from the time they're produced, literally and figuratively. Everyone and everything is basically a tool in this society that will either be used, traded, or discarded. Knowing this will help you put finance, or better yet, the pursuit of money, into perspective so that you now know how to move accordingly and attain financial privilege. So, in order to get financial privilege, which is essentially making money and making more money to get access to more opportunities in all aspects of your life and reducing the likelihood of being financially burdened, you need to provide a value of some sort in this society that you can monetize. And there is no way around this in this capitalist society. Some people provide their value by using their bodies. Others use their intelligence that they gained through their academic skills. Others use their technical skills, their handy skills, their soft skills, domestic skills, and so on. One misconception that many people make when making money is that they assume that being more intelligent or just having a higher IQ alone is pretty much the main thing that can make you more money. And that is just completely not true. This type of misconception is often projected when people embark on getting master degrees, PhDs, doctorates, and all these higher education accomplishments. And they assume that by having these degrees alone will just guarantee a higher pay. And that is just not true, especially during the times we're living in where information is just a lot more accessible to people. And this is not to bash people who have higher levels of education, because I do have high levels of education, but it's an example of how many of us have been misled throughout the years about finances and making money, and showing that you can't just get by having a degree, because many people now have degrees. So what exactly makes you stand out from the other person who has a degree? If your skills and intelligence do not benefit anyone, then in this capitalist society, your skills and intelligence are pretty much meaningless and just reduced to information overload. So here are some ways in which you can actually use your skills and intelligence to get financial privilege, and also how you can begin attaining those skills too if you don't already have them. And by the way, this is a disclaimer. I am by no means a financial advisor or a professional in finance. These are just things that I have learned over time from experience, and I've learned from other people around me, and I'm continuously learning too. So make sure you bear that in mind when you're listening to this. One of the ways in which you can attain financial privilege is to work in a money lucrative industry, such as the IT industry, healthcare industry, finance industry. I did a simple Google search of the careers that make a lot of money, and this is what came up. And as you can see, a lot of these positions fall into the industries that I've just mentioned. And I understand not everyone will want to work in these industries, and not everyone has to, because we are all very different people with different interests. And that is completely fine, because money can be made in every single industry. You just have to be strategic in how you do it. So now that you know which industries tend to make the most money, and which industries you're interested in, look into the roles, the job roles that make the most money within that industry, and the jobs that make the least, and the jobs that make the average income. The skills and the knowledge needed for each role will vary depending on the level of the job role. So is there a particular job role that interests you within this industry, or a particular job role that you can see yourself doing in the near future? With this initial research, think about your current position and skill set. Which skills do you think you can attain within the next 6 months to a year? So by that time, you'll feel comfortable enough to apply for that job role. For many corporate roles, an undergraduate degree is needed as a prerequisite, whereas for other roles, the knowledge that is required to do the role may not actually need a degree to get that information. So regardless of what your educational background is, knowledge and experience are paramount to making more money. And that is what you should be pursuing first and foremost. So if you need to do a course after your 9 to 5 or while in school to gain those skills, then be prepared to sacrifice a few hours out of your week to do so. There are many course providers out here, so be wary when choosing a course, especially when you're about to spend money on it. Look at the latest reviews from the previous alumni. See what they said about the course. Did they end up getting their desired job role? How did they actually use the information that they gained from the course? Did they see a salary increase? Did bigger and better corporations open their doors to them? These are the type of questions that you need to be asking when you want to invest in gaining more knowledge. Also, look into who the awarding bodies are for these courses and make sure that they're reputable in that specific industry. Because the last thing you want is a certificate from a dodgy company who no one has heard of before. And you want to make sure that if you're investing in gaining more knowledge, the knowledge has to be relevant to your desired field. Otherwise, it will be of no value to the employer nor to you. Another thing to mention is that you're replaceable. Never believe that you are not replaceable. This means at the end of the day, you are essentially a tax code in the working world. This means that you're going to need to be on your toes and always actively building your professional development so that when you're seeking a job, the employer would be a fool to not even consider you for an interview. Try to learn at least one skill every year that you can make money from. What are the most sought after skills in the industry that you want to work in or you're currently working in right now? You have to always update your resume throughout the year. I usually do it quarterly because I set my goals for the year on a quarterly basis. And you can also do this too. Or you can do this every time you start a new role. But whenever you do update your resume, make sure you add the tasks that you've done, especially the ones which were highly important and made a significant impact in the company. Other ways in which you can gain experience is through internships. This is especially important for people who haven't fully stepped into the workforce or the corporate world, like those in college, university, high school, and so on. College specifically is the time where you have the freedom to explore your interests and different career options. And you have to make the most of this time. And if you're in college or university right now, prioritize getting at least one internship throughout your course, at least one paid internship, because internships are a great way to gain experience but also make money. And ideally, getting an internship in your field of interest is amazing. So you'll be more attractive to employers when you come out of college. But internships that are outside of your usual scope are also great too, because it shows that you're a well-rounded individual. So it's a win-win situation either way. Internships also provide you with access to more job opportunities for when you leave college and university, but I'll go into this a bit more deeper in my other upcoming videos. Another way of getting financial privilege is by being a subject matter expert in your field. This means that you've invested in your field through learning and gaining a diverse skill set, and this will give you the competitive edge in the job market, giving you a higher chance of getting hired for higher paying roles. And this is an extremely important tip, especially for those who are already working in a career or in the working world in general. You can use being a subject matter expert as a leverage to negotiate a higher salary. And if you're contracting, if you're a contractor, which means working for yourself, but you're providing your services to companies, you can negotiate to charge a higher day rate. Another really important aspect to mention about gaining financial privilege is to save your money. Whether it's a huge amount or a small amount, I do recommend saving as many times as possible. If this looks like saving 10% of your monthly income, or 20%, or 90%, it's up to you. But I do suggest you save once you've met all your needs, like your rent, mortgage, groceries, and so on. Usually people recommend having an emergency fund that will sustain you for 3 months in case you are unemployed and looking for another job. But I would actually suggest to have an emergency fund that will sustain you for at least 6 months. And the reason why I say this is because currently the job market is tough and highly competitive, and it may take more than 3 months to get another job. So thinking ahead and trying to cover all the possibilities that could happen is a smart move. That being said, keep your savings in a high yield savings account, which are essentially saving accounts that will reward you with higher interest rates, so your money grows faster rather than just sitting in a regular savings account with a lower interest rate collecting dust. The banks which offer this type of savings account differ from country to country, but a simple Google search or even just asking your current bank is a good starting point too. Asking them if they do have the option of having a high yield savings account. Another thing is make sure that paying off your debt is a primary priority. And if it's not yet currently, make it a priority today. The last thing you want when you're trying to make more money is to have a cloud of money you owe to tormenting you. That doesn't mean you should not enjoy your life while paying off your debt, but it means that you're actively working towards reducing your current debt and you're not acquiring any more debt in the meantime. This will make you actually more conscious about your spending, as you'll realize that some things are just not worth spending money on. You'll develop a spending hierarchy of the things that you're willing to spend money on and the things that you're not willing to spend money on. Dave Ramsey is a well-known finance YouTuber here on YouTube who has a method called the baby steps, I think, which essentially are steps in how you can begin to control your money and reduce your debt. So these are some of the ways in which you can begin attaining financial privilege, and I'll be making a part 2 because there's quite a lot to cover. So what are the ways in which you're doing right now to gain financial privilege? As always, comment down below because I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.